How we doing, guys?
Good, Coach.
Good. Will Elliott be clear to do everything in practice today? And we kind of get in the stage of the season when he gets this much use that you are very cautious with him in practice.
We anticipate him practicing today. He was dealing with a hip soreness coming out of the game, and so that's why he was limited yesterday.
He was just saying it was a day of rest, so that's why we're wondering if do you monitor him in practice when he's had this workload in the 3 games in 12 days?
Yeah, I'd like to think we monitor all our players, and you do what's best for the team in general, and then for specific guys. And again, his hips were bothering him, so that's why we kept him out of practice yesterday. It looks better this morning.
When you look at go ahead, Kate.
How's the offensive line looking in terms of being able to practice today? Xavier, Zach, Tyron?
We'll see. Hopefully each of those guys can do something in practice today. It won't be a padded practice, so hopefully they can get some work in.
What is Xavier dealing with? Is it an ankle? Or?
Yes.
Zeke talked a little bit about the energy that Mark Colombo brings, not just to the offensive line group, but really to the entire offense. How do you see him doing that?
If you've ever been around Colombo, even for just a minute, you feel it. We felt it as a player, and it's one of the reasons we wanted to bring him into our organization as a coach. And he's done a really good job as the assistant O-line coach, and a big part of that was bringing that juice, that energy. His connection with players is outstanding, and it certainly continues to grow in the role that he's in right now. He's done an outstanding job for us.
Do you need a balance of that on a coaching staff? Because it would seem like you don't want too many guys that are all juiced up, but then you also maybe want a few guys like that. Can you have too many of those guys?
Yeah, I think it's important to have balance throughout your staff in a lot of different areas. Youth and experience, high energy guys, maybe more cerebral guys. I think trying to touch guys and impact players a lot of different ways I think is important throughout your staff.
When he came back to you guys, I think he worked in Will's for the scouting side a little bit too. Did you see a guy who just missed football and wanted to get back into it after being out a couple of years?
Oh, I think you probably realized that the rock and roll world and the acting world was a little bit challenging. And, he and I had a good conversation when he retired. And, I said, you should go pursue those things if that's what you want to do. But know that we want to get you back here at some point. And I think he pursued them for a couple of years and decided that, football is what he loved and what he was probably best at. And he came back in and he did work in personnel first and then came over to the coaching side and has done an excellent job for us.
Saints have used running backs and receiver roles as long as Sean Payton's been there, but Kamara specifically, when you have a running back that can, 60, 70, 80 receptions in a season, I mean, is that more about the scheme or something specific that he does better than other running backs?
Well, he's a great football player. Sean does a fantastic job, moving him and all the other guys around to get him into advantageous situations. But 41's a really, really good player, whether you hand it to him or throw it to him. And you can hand it to him a lot of different ways and throw it to him a lot of different ways. He just has a great feel and instinct for the game. His quickness, his burst, his acceleration is off the charts. He's a hard guy to tackle. So when the ball's in his hands, typically good things are happening for them.
One of the mileposts you look at defensively for how well you're playing is the number of big plays allowed. When you go against a team like this, as explosive as New Orleans, does that gauge change a little bit? Do you accept that, we're probably going to give up a few more big plays than usual, and it's going to be how we respond to it, or is it still, no, this is what?
Yeah, I don't know that you look at it specifically in regards to big plays. Obviously, they're a good offense. They're good in so many different ways. They can run it. They run the ball inside. They run the ball outside. They can throw it on all 3 levels of the defense. They make a ton of little plays in the game. They make a ton of big plays in the game. The ball's always moving. They score a lot of points. So I think what you said at the end is probably what's most important in this game is just continuing to play through the success and the adversity. And that's something you have to do every week in the NFL. And the teams that do that the best are the teams that typically win and are playing football at the end of the season. That's the nature of our game. The mental toughness to play 60 minutes, play in and play out, regardless of what's going on. So this team challenges you, but you get challenged that way every week.
What effect does Jordan have for them up front? What kind of player is he?
Cam Jordan?
Yeah.
He's a great player. He's a fantastic player. He's a really, really good run defender. He's obviously very good impacting and affecting the opposing quarterback. He's a really good rusher. He's a powerful rusher, but he also has quickness, speed, and acceleration, a ton of moves, just around the ball a lot, defending the run and around the quarterback a lot in the passing game. So he's an outstanding football player.
Obviously, a lot of change since the 2009 matchup that you guys had against them. And Drew and Sean are still there. What do you remember about facing that red-hot Saints team and coming out on top of them?
I remember it being a really good game. And all due respect to your question, we're kind of locked in on this game and this challenge we have this week. But obviously, those guys, Sean's a great coach, Drew's a great player, and they've had a lot of great years together. So, but we're kind of locked in on what we need to do for this Thursday.
We've asked you this before about Breeze, but in the whole Miami thing, have you guys ever visited that on the side over some lemonades at all about what happened or what could have been or anything like that over the years?
Yeah, again, not a lot of time for reflection, but he and I have talked about that since then, and it all worked out great. Great for him to go down to New Orleans and have the career he's had down there, and utmost respect for him as a guy and as a player.
I mean, David touched on this a minute ago, but a guy like him, I mean, 3 picks this year, on pace to set the completion percentage record. Do you spend extra time with the DBs this week, just like, hey, it's Drew Brees, like, just focus on the next play, don't get discouraged?
Again, that's something we try to instill in our team every week. You get challenged by every team every time you kick it off, and that's a big part of playing well, is handle success, handle adversity. Obviously, these guys are really good. They're really good in all 3 phases of their team. The quarterback's off the charts. They're going to have a lot of success. They do every week. So it's a matter of continuing to focus on us and what we need to do to execute and slow them down. So that's really where our attention will be.
Is it easier to get a team locked in, your team getting locked in, playing a team like this because they are very aware of a 10-1 Saints team?
Yeah, you like to think that you got everybody locked in every day, certainly every week. There's only 16 of these games that we play, so you want to make sure your focus is sharp in your preparation all week long and then for 60 minutes. And certainly we have great respect for the team we're playing on Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, good to see you guys.